About a year ago, I released a pack of Lightroom presets that are available to buy and download, and since that time I've had a load of requests to make some more, and I haven't done up until now simply because I don't want to just churn out loads of presets just for the sake of it. The pack I released are ones that I spent a long time developing and ones I personally use. But since that time, I've started a project where I've been shooting on medium format film and on digital and trying to match the look of the medium format film on the digital image and create a preset from that, and this has actually worked quite well. So I'm going to release another pack, and I'm going to put a link down in the description where you can get that from. Again, I'm going to charge a little bit of money for them, not quite as much as some other people are charging, but just a little bit because I spent a long time developing them, and also the last lot sold quite well and it was able to fund me making some more YouTube videos and put a lot more time into YouTube, and I would like to do that some more. So I'll run you through the various film stocks I've been looking at and what you get with these presets. But first, here's a little bit about how to emulate that film look on a digital image. So the first thing to remember about film is that it renders colour very differently from digital. On a digital camera, everything is set up to be as true to life as possible, and this is a good thing because it gives you the maximum scope to then edit that image in post. But with film, different film stocks give you different tints in each colour, different saturations, different kind of pulls along the spectrum in the reds, in the greens, in the purples, blues, whatever. So in order to emulate film stock, you have to look at how the colour is looking in that stock and then match that in Lightroom. Another big difference between film and digital is that digital has a much more even range of contrast, going from the blackest blacks being the dark points to the whitest whites being the white points, and everything is very even between those. Film has much more of a curve to it. It kind of crushes the blacks and there's a very smooth roll off towards the lights, giving the effect of a more contrasty image. If you want to recreate that film look, you need to recreate that contrast curve. One key distinctive feature of the film look is that the surface of film is covered with a silver halide coating, and when it's exposed to enough photons, creates particles across the surface of the film, which creates a grainy look. Now this grain looks very distinctive, it looks very different to digital noise, and of course with medium format, the effect of that grain is kind of reduced, and so you get a much finer look to it. Another really key thing to the film look is that film has a kind of haze to it, a kind of softness where the colours and tones kind of bleed into each other a little bit. And up until recently this wasn't possible to recreate in Lightroom, but in recent updates of Lightroom they've added a dehaze slider, which is meant to kind of reduce foggy photos and sort of sharpen up detail and stuff like that. But if you pull it the other way, you need to be very careful when you do this. You create a haze and you start to create that film look, and you need to offset this by putting down blacks and shadows in your curves and in your sliders, because it starts to take away some of that rich tonal depth. But if you get the balance right here, you can really get a nice sort of hazy film look. So let me show you the film stocks that I've attempted to recreate with my Lightroom preset pack. While I've been developing these presets on large photo merges in order to get an as accurate as possible look, the quality of digital cameras these days is so high that even the small sensors can resolve detail that far surpasses any medium format film stock. So these presets should work just fine on any image that's straight out of the camera, and I've been testing them on a variety of sizes and camera brands to make sure that they're working fine across the board. The stock I shot in part 1 of this video was Kodak Portra 400. I've got two versions of this in my preset pack, as I've seen some variation in colour and contrast when I've been shooting it. How the film is exposed and developed plays quite a big part in the final look of the shot, so that's why there are some presets with alternative versions. It's the alternative version of this one that was based on the portrait from part 1. So if I apply this preset to the digital version, it looks like this. So it looks like I need to bring the exposure up by somewhere around half a stop, I'd say. There we go. And now I need to just warm up that white balance a little bit, and I think pull the tint slightly towards the magenta, just very slightly. And there we go. That is a pretty good match. So I'll just quickly run through some examples of what the presets you get in this pack look like. So this is the medium format version of Ilford HP5, which is a very popular black and white stock. This one's Kodak Tri-X 400, which has sort of strong contrast. It's a popular stock for photojournalists. This one's Polaroid 665, which is an instant one. There's very strong darks and lights, but with a reasonable amount of tone in the greys, so I've seen it used a lot in portraits. This one's CineStill 50D, which is a colour negative film. It's a modified version of Kodak Motion Picture Cinema film, which allowed it to be developed with the C41 process. It has very kind of creamy tones and soft colours. Fujichrome Astia 100F. This was a discontinued stock. It was discontinued in 2003, so my working process here has had to be slightly different. Basically involved a lot of looking at images shot with this stock and a lot of trial and error. So very fine grain, quite subdued colour reproduction and very soft tones. The Fujicolor Pro 400H, this was a film with a very fine grain and quite a wide exposure latitude, so it had good skin tone, so it was used a lot for weddings, portraits and fashion. Kodak Ektar 100, this is a more refined version of my preset from Pack 1. This is based on the medium format version obviously, and it's slightly subtler, not quite as intense as the first one. I think I prefer this version. Kodak Portra 160, which is a daylight balanced colour negative film. Good for people, so used primarily for weddings and portraits. I've got two versions of this in the preset back because I've seen quite a bit of variation in colour and contrast. How the film's exposed and developed plays quite a big part in the final look of the shot, so that's why there are some presets with alternative versions. So we're on to Kodak Portra 400 now, which is the stock that I shot in part 1 of this video. Again, there are two versions of this, and it's the alternative version that was based on the portrait that you saw me shoot in part 1. Now when you purchase these presets, you'll receive a zip file which will contain two folders, one for Lightroom 5, one for Lightroom CC and Classic. To install the presets in Lightroom 5, you go to Lightroom and then Preferences, and under your Presets tab, click the Show Lightroom Presets folder. Now in this folder here called Lightroom, we've got Develop Presets. And what you want to do is go into your Lightroom 5 folder, and in here you've got JW Presets 2, just drag that folder into this folder, restart Lightroom, and you're good to go. To install them in Lightroom Classic, it's very similar to Lightroom 5. Go to the Lightroom menu, then Preferences again. Under Presets, click Show Lightroom Develop Presets. Now here you have a Settings folder. What you want to do is go into your Lightroom CC and Classic folder and drag this JW Presets 2 folder into the Settings folder. Again, restart Lightroom and they should be ready. To install the presets in Lightroom CC, click this little icon here, and then click Presets at the bottom here. You're presented with this little menu. Click these little three dots here, like an ellipsis. Go to Import Presets, then go into your Lightroom CC and Classic folder, click that folder, and click Import. And here they are. So while I'm here and on the subject of Lightroom presets, in my 10 hidden Lightroom tips video, I discussed using the fader, which is a plugin which allows you to change effectively the opacity or the strength of a preset. Now that has since kind of stopped working, and a lot of people have messaged me going, oh, I've downloaded the fader and it doesn't work and you told me to do it. And it worked when I downloaded it and I made the video, but it doesn't seem to work now. So I've got a new one that I would recommend. If I go to my plugins here, this one's called Opal. I'll put a link for it down in the description, and it works very, very well. It's a very simple slider. It basically just takes all your settings from your preset and either pushes them further or pulls them back. Pretty much does what the fader does, but seems to work a little bit better. Unfortunately, this one's not free. You do have to pay a small price for it, but in my opinion, it is worth it because the versatility it gives you is really, really good, and it's not very much money. So those are my medium format film emulation presets for Lightroom. If you would like those, there's a link just below this video. If you click that, it will take you to the page where you can download them from. So hit that like button if you want to hit something because you're angry. Smash it if you want to break your laptop. Don't smash it. Don't. But anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Well, I won't see you. You'll see me in the next video. I won't see you in the next video because if I saw you, that would be weird.